for us today. Then we will have an opportunity for questions and answers on the Netcampus presentation and platform. The second part of our presentation today is also a digital platform, but of a different sort. As opposed to learning, it's really a virtual marketplace that links buyers, suppliers, logistics companies, trade financiers into a virtual marketplace. And Giselle will be explaining the platform to us and describing how to participate in the platform. And we will also have a testimony from Kevin, who's kindly joined us to share his experiences of using the African Trade Platform. And again, we will have Q&A and an opportunity to register on that platform. So as George mentioned, our world is moving into more digital platforms, nudged on by COVID quite aggressively. And today is particularly highlights that because it brings to the fore two digital or virtual environments that aim to provide information or provide networks to all of you in Namibia in a different way than what we used to. So with that, I'd like to introduce Henk to Blanche. He's our operations manager at Netcampus. He brings vast experience in terms of technology, but also in terms of learning. We worked extremely closely with Henk throughout the development of the 10 different modules on the Netcampus platform, and very excited that he can share it with you today in this presentation. So with that, Henk, if you'd like to bring up your slides, and we're all ears. Sorry, let me first, while you're doing that, let me introduce Yemi. Yemi is from Mounga Crafts, one of our key partners in Botswana. Mounga Crafts produce jams and sauces and other delicious products, including African indigenous ingredients. We're working closely with Mounga Crafts in terms of exporting to South Africa and also to the US. And Yemi has used the Netcampus Digital Financial Learning Solution both himself. He's also heads up the National Producers Association of Botswana and has been promoting this platform through the association. So with that, let me hand over to Henk for his presentation, and then we'll bring Yemi on stage. Thanks, Henk.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity and for making time for us to take you through this presentation. So yeah, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. So basically, just at a glance, Netcampus is a South African-based training company. So we are based in South Africa. Within the various provinces, we do have a footprint. Sorry, Jeanette, can I mute you? Apologies. So basically, just to run through quickly, we have vast training experience within the industry, and then also we have moved through COVID and through various other scenarios which took place during the last year and even before that, we moved into a digital space a little bit more. And with that, the US IH TradeHub basically approached us as well within last year, and we partnered in order to develop a digital financial solution, we call it. So the solution is basically designed and built in partnership with the Southern African Trade and Investment Hub. We also developed it with a small and medium enterprise in mind. So it's normally your enterprises which are entering into new ventures, or they're looking to expand within the region and the international market overall. So we found through our interview process we had basically initially, we found that there are a number of gaps which they are basically within the small and medium enterprise in terms of, we can almost say financial acumen in a sense, especially with your smaller organizations, as well as where to go in order to get specific bits of information, and also what topics and what to think about when I'm looking at expanding within the international market. So with international market, we mean basically expanding with partnering with South Africa and using South Africa as a stepping stone kind of within the region to move into further into the markets. So with that, we have 10 modules. I've listed, I think, 8 modules here. So we're starting basically with the introduction module, which tells you about the pros, tells you about who the SME is, where the SME come from, and what it's about. And then we're looking at topics, for example, like funding and financing sources. So that's not giving the specific names of organizations, but it's just what to think about when you look at looking for funding and financing sources, because there are various sources. It's not just your traditional banks you can go to or capital providers. There are various sources which the SME or the organization can look at when they're looking for funding, for example. So, and sometimes when they look at the process, they might see that they don't need external funding. They can fund specific projects internally. We look at supply chain management, so that's basically with an eye on moving outside of your country. We look at introduction to business plans, because when you want to meet with any potential funder, capital provider, investor, we have to have a plan in place. And in that plan, you have to have specific topics which we're going to look at. Finance management, interpreting financial statements. So that's the bare basics, basically, when you look at the SME. So it is basically your 4 basic financial reports, financial documents, which you'll also need to submit with your business plan when you're looking to expand within the region and looking for potential funding partners. We're looking also at how to prepare your business for export, meeting with a capital provider, what the specific questions are which you can expect when a capital provider is inviting you for a meeting, because you might have one shot at impressing, if I can put it like that, from a from a SME perspective, but also what your expectations are from the capital provider's perspective. So that gives a little bit of a view into that world. And then also we're looking at finding the right capital provider. So that's basically looking once again at the different funding sources, but also looking then at how to go about when you look at capital providers. So, and then we also have another module, which I didn't list on here, which is basically looking for funding and looking basically at what tools are available out there, which are maybe free or at a nominal cost, which you can use as a small and medium enterprise when you want to expand, and looking, for example, for an accounting system or looking for a system to build a website on, because we all want to look at optimizing our funds and financing, but also looking at return on investment. So that is basically which is covered in that module. So all this content is delivered through the Netcampus LMS, or the Netcampus Learning Management System. So that's a web-based system. So what happens here is a person can log in onto the system after they've registered. So you log in with your mobile device, you can log in through your computer or from your tablet. So it is basically flexible throughout devices. And on this LMS or platform, you'll be able to view your own profiles. You'll be able to view the progress, how you progress throughout with the courses. You'll be able to take the different modules and the different courses you go through. Due to our time constraints, I won't be able to go into much detail on the LMS, but when we send you a welcome message and everything, once we've created or registered you on the system, then we provide a guide on going through the LMS, or I can also provide you with assistance if that is needed. But it's pretty straightforward. There's not really much which in terms of technicalities, which can be pitfalls when you log in. So to access the content is fairly user-friendly and fairly easy. If we look also, the content can also be accessed through our V Academy. So that is our online e-commerce platform. So up to the end of July, we're providing the content at a zero cost. So we will basically, if you purchase the content basically through this system, through the V Academy, then we'll be able to apply a discount voucher code, and that voucher code will be basically applied, and it will zero rate the specific content. So there's 2 ways in which you can register. You can just send me an email with specific credentials. I'll add it into the chat. and or you can basically access the content directly through our virtual academy platform. So whichever method will work for you. And then you have access to all 10 of the modules. You'll have access for a period of 3 months. So, and like I said, it's free of charge up to the end of July. Like I've said, also there's also other courses and course titles available on the V Academy. Those are priced at the standard pricing, but you're welcome to go through and have a look. So I think on the flyer which was distributed, there is a little bit more information on how to access. I'll share the flyer just now on the presentation as well. And yeah, that's basically me in a nutshell. Um, Apologies, the earphones doesn't want to work with me today, so let me just, sorry Francis, I just want to quickly show the, if it's okay, the flyer, then you'll be able to, just quickly want to get there. Apologies, this is something I remembered now off cuff. Okay, I'm just going to have to share my screen again. Apologies. Let's see if it will work. There we go. So basically, the flyer which we talk about, it is, like I said, it's covering the basic information around what the solution is about. So I'm just quickly scrolling through this. I'll attach it in the chat as well, together with a link. And then here's also the discount voucher code, which you can apply basically on the checkout phase when you log in. If you need more information, you can contact us on support@netcampus.com. I'll add it all in the chat. And then basically, you can just provide us with a first name, surname, and then the organization name with the email address, and I'll be able to register you within a few minutes. But I'll share this just now in the chat as well. Then I'm going to hand back to Francis because and then we can continue the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Henk. It's really great to learn more about the platform. Maybe what I didn't mention up front is that we as the USA Trade Hub saw a need for this type of learning solution for the businesses that we work with. Often businesses want to access capital to grow or to improve their working capital situation. And there's so many different types of financial services available in the market that it can be a bit overwhelming if you're a small business and not familiar with trade finance and equity and debt and this instrument and that instrument. And there's heaps of jargon in this world. So the whole idea with this platform is to provide a safe learning environment where businesses that we work with can go and better prepare themselves for entering into the capital raising process. So thank you, Henk, for sharing the platform with us or the learning solution with us. Yemi, if you'd like to come on stage now, we would love to hear about your experience of using the Netcampus financial learning solution. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for that introduction, Francis. This experience with Netcampus actually was a very good one. As Francis said, my name is Yemi. I am one of the co-founders of a company called Maungo Craft. We make indigenous fruit-based jams, hot sauce, marmalade, and so on. So we've been working with USAID now for the past couple of years at least. They've been a very good partner to us. And one of the things that they've done here with Netcampus was to create a platform that has actually been very useful for us to learn certain things. So for example, Maungo Craft right now is looking to export and expand, and that takes money. As SMMEs, you'll find often that you are always in the process of raising capital. So we are currently actually in the process of raising capital ourselves. So the modules were very practical, and they also were very relevant to where we are right now in that capital raising process, determining what kind of capital will be relevant. Also, in looking what kind of capital will be relevant, other more nuanced questions. So I'll give an example. When I did it online, we were looking at when raising capital, let's just say, for example, with a bank, whether one should go and ask for the bare minimum or what one needs. So in doing the course, for example, we learned that one should go and look for as much capital as one needs so one isn't undercapitalized. So there are various smaller, more nuanced things that you get to learn and help to refine yourself and also your enterprise. The interface for the program itself is very, very user-friendly. It has little pleasant cartoons, which were fun. It's interactive and immersive, and it covers the gambit of things from whether you're looking to raise capital, helping you to sort out how you actually deal with your finances and financial statements. And yeah, what to do when you meet a capital provider, what to expect in those moments, and also the aspect of export as well. So we, for example, have a business plan, but we hadn't thought of doing an independent marketing export plan. And due to learning the things that we've now learned, and we're still learning from interacting in this platform, we are actually now drafting our marketing export plan so that we can have something more targeted, so we can have goals that we can outline clearly and know exactly what the outcomes we're expecting, and for the specific export markets that we're entering into. Prior to that, because right now what we have is we have our business plan that we drafted beforehand, and the business plan has marketing and it does cover those export markets. But for our business plan, the export marketing plan and the marketing plan locally are more so jumbled together, and one has to realize that these are different markets with different needs. So having that targeted, focused export marketing plan could actually make all the difference for us in our business. And so yeah, it's been a very good experience in terms of using it. It was a very pleasant experience in terms of logging into it. The only drawback I can think of was I had a hard time using it on my phone. I tried the once. I hadn't tried the second time. So I don't know if that was just a situation for the once. I've generally used it on my laptop. I enjoy it. My partner joined in with me while I was using it. And also, as the secretary of the Natural Producers Association here in Botswana, we've also gotten other members to use it. They themselves have also had a very pleasant experience in using the Netcampus programming as well. And so, yeah, it's been a very good experience. I can't stop saying good things about it. So I would actually recommend that all and anyone who could try to do it, try it, see what you can get out of it. We as a business like to think that we are generally prepared, but this experience helped to prepare us even further. So yes, thank you once again for the opportunity to speak on it, and I couldn't recommend it more. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Yemi. Our thanks to you for sharing. I know as an entrepreneur that's going through the growth spurt that you're going through, your hands are full. So thank you for taking the time to share your experience with the members of the audience and for bringing practical insights. I really enjoyed hearing about the link to growing into export markets because it really reinforces I think the USA Trade Hub mission and support that we're trying to offer in a very integrated approach. So thank you for bringing practical insights. It's now time for some questions and answers and an opportunity to register. I noticed there are a number of people that have already shared details in order to register. Thank you, Jenny, Mareka, and Aquina, Elements from Aquina for registering. Are there any questions for Henk or for Yemi at this stage? You're welcome to either pop questions in the chat or to raise your hand and pose the questions on screen. I do not see any at this stage. So I think I'm going to ask our next speaker to be on standby. This means, Henk, that everything was very clear.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
I
I'm
think.
sorry, I just want to add also one thing. With the experience which Yemi has mentioned on a mobile device, it depends on your device size as well and your screen size. That's always with e-learning, that's a little bit of a challenge. So we would recommend basically use a device which is maybe a tablet or a laptop, maybe to access the content. That just makes the experience a bit easier and more fluent. But it is mobile device ready if you need to use it in that manner.
Thanks for clarifying that, Henk. Yeah, good point. I see a comment in the chat. If there are 2 or more members of an organization, do they have to register separately? Yes, you're more than welcome to have 2 people from your organization register so that you can have separate access. So please do feel comfortable doing that. Are there any other questions? Or Henk, do you want to add to that? Sorry, I just jumped in and answered.
No problem, Francis. No, you answered the question almost 100%, if I can put it like that. So we just need the 2 separate email addresses, but you can send a request basically to support@netcampus.com, and I'll be more than willing to assist support. I'm just going to type it in and then in the chat, then with the details. And we'd also ask if we need further information so you can register more members from your organization if you like. Thank you.
And I think we've got quite a few members of the Namibia network of the cosmetics industry here. So also please feel free to share this with other members. And we're very happy to open this opportunity up to other Namibian exporters as well as network organizations or associations. So please do pass this on to other businesses that might have an interest or a need in terms of developing their financial acumen and financial education. Right, I don't see any other questions. I would just like to find out, I know Giselle has been hit by load shedding. So Giselle, are we going to try and run the presentation with you, or will Warwick be presenting?
I am here, Francis.
Super, it seems like your backup plan is working very well.
I've got Warwick. Okay.
So if I could just ask for the introduction slide so I can introduce Giselle, please. Mamosa, I think. While the slides are coming up, I'd like to introduce Giselle. She is from the African Trade Platform. The African Trade Platform, as I mentioned in the introduction, is a virtual marketplace that was developed by a partner of ours called Sebvest. We've been working together for a year and a half or more in terms of taking this work onto a digital platform. So Giselle is going to walk us through the African Trade Platform and all the functionalities and security that's been built into the virtual marketplace. Then we are going to hear from Kevin Murphy. Kevin is a businessman. He's done work in the agricultural sector with farming cooperatives in Zimbabwe, and he has graciously volunteered to give us feedback on his experience of using the African Trade Platform, just like Yemi did. So thank you for taking the time, Kevin, to also share your experiences. With that, I will ask Giselle to please bring up her slides and we can jump straight into the African Trade Platform presentation. Again, please feel free to post questions in the chat, or you can write them down and pose them at the end. Thanks, Giselle. Over to you.
Thanks, Mamosa. I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity to present the African Trade Platform to you this afternoon. I'm looking forward to everybody's feedback. I think it's going to be quite exciting to everybody and see how many people have joined on the platform and how many people have never been onto the platform. So it'll be great to see the end result of this. So Francis introduced the platform quite nicely. Thank you, Francis. So we have basically partnered with USAID to understand the trade industry and the needs of sub-Saharan businesses exporting to South Africa and to the United States. By doing this, we've developed the platform, which is a marketplace that utilizes state-of-the-art. Can everybody see the slides? Perfect. State-of-the-art algorithms to match trade stakeholders within a transaction, enabling efficiency in the trade process. So the aim of the platform is to make the trading process a lot easier and a simpler process for yourself. So in other words, by using the algorithms, we are linking and matching buyers, suppliers, financiers, and logistics. So if you are a buyer looking for a product or a seller searching for a buyer, the African Trade Platform matches potential trades with while linking support services such as transactional finance and logistics providers to enable a smoother process for you. The platform eliminates a lot of day-to-day concerns with regards to trades, and we all have those worries in today's day. So you find if you're a buyer and you have a lot of questions, you have a lot of doubts, you have a lot of concerns. So the platform makes the whole process a lot simpler and easier for you to get rid of those day-to-day concerns. You always wonder, how do I find a seller? What price do I offer to the person? As a supplier, you always wonder, how do I get my product into the market? What price will I get for my product? Is the buyer fraudulent? Is it a scam? So we have these day-to-day trepidations, and the platform eases that away from you. So that's a great benefit of the platform, and also to see, are you trade ready? This will give you the access to perform everything on one platform with regards to importing and exporting. So the benefits of the platform, the platform is for everyone. It's out there to be used. If you are uploading your product, there's no priority commodities. The trades are all based on algorithms with regards to supply and demand. One of the great benefits is that the African Trade Platform will market your product for you, which is wonderful, and get your product out there for the whole world to see. There's also back-end support, which is provided by ATP. One of the other great things is that all suppliers are confidential, but the product, there's full transparency on all products. One of the other great benefits is that there's trade finance and advisory available for market-ready SMEs. And existing buyers and sellers will be migrated onto the platform, which is a wonderful way to see the product out there and to see what pricing you can get, what product you can get, and from where. So your product's out there for the world to see, and it's a wonderful marketing platform as well. At the moment, we are we only have the desktop app, but we're currently working on a mobile app, which is a great benefit later on. But once we launch that, we'll let everybody know. With regards to, you have your concerns regarding your supplier or your buyer, we verify every buyer, every supplier on the platform. We make sure that the products are verified. We do product specification checks, collateral management, and you'll see on the platform, I'm going to go through the stages. We also have logistics management. You can get logistics quotes. So the platform is your trusted partner for all African transactions. Okay, a lot of questions I receive is, what are the fees of the platform? There is no cost to register onto the platform. It is free. There are trade fees applicable per transaction, 1% to 6% of trade value depending on the commodity, and also then the ATP required interventions. But if you have any further questions on that, please feel free to contact me afterwards and we can discuss those in a bit more detail. I'm going to go through the whole onboarding process and the levels of the platform and the stages which allow you to see certain aspects of the platform. Right, so the platform is divided into 3 status levels. So you get status 1, which is your viewer member. So this allows you to only view the platform and see what it's all about, where you'll log in via the website, you can put your email address and password, and it gives you access basically to the front of the platform. Status 2 is a registered member. So this allows you to view the deals and the products that are registered onto the platform. But you cannot trade as yet. So with a registered member, you just need a certain amount of you don't need any documents or anything. I just need company details, name, address, what you do, telephone number, email address, and then we'll accept you as a registered member on the platform. Once you've been accepted, you can view the products and the deals. Okay. Now, status 3 is the most important status level of the platform. This allows you to have full access to the platform. And this is where you upload your product, you sell your product, you can get logistics quotes, finance requests. So you have full access to the platform. So you can see on the slide, by doing this, you've got access. You can go into the product itself. You can see what the price is. You can basically then view the deal. You can buy the product. You can put an auction in. So it allows you full access, which is wonderful. And the only thing with that is we request, because we do the due diligence on the platform, we request that you fill in an actual supplier online form or a buyer online form, where we request full company information. We request some documents that we can verify you. Once you are verified, you'll have full access to the platform on status level 3. As you can see here, I spoke about the logistics quotations. It's full access for you to use. It's a live system, so it also takes that stress away about your logistics issues and how we're going to do this and so forth. And then the other benefit I spoke about is also getting finance. So you can request finance if you've got issues about or worries about increasing your pipeline or productivity. Are you export ready? Can we help you get export ready? So the platform links your all-around trade experience. So you're linking the buyers, the suppliers, the financiers, and logistics. So the whole process, we want to make it simpler and an easier process for you to start trading. Okay. I'm going to put the email address onto the chat for you to have a look at. This is where you'll log in. Like I said, status level 1. You're going to log in with your password and an email address, and you can just view the platform as is. And if you'd like to go further, please, register as a member. And from there, if you want to upload your products and start trading, then, you'll have to fill out the supplier form or buyer form, and then we'll accept you as a verified member. So I'm going to put the link now, and then we can have a look at it once everybody's done chatting. And if there's any questions, please feel free to contact me at any time. I'm always happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Giselle. That was a really informative presentation. I think what really stood out for me is the fact that whilst the verification takes a bit of documentation and a bit of effort, it means that the whole platform is more secure. You're dealing with verified suppliers or verified buyers, not some potential crook. So that makes it so much more secure and stable for use. Warwick has joined the call. Warwick is the CEO of Sebvest as backup for Giselle given load shedding. But since it's here, we will definitely take advantage of having him around so that he can say hi and add anything that he would like. Please welcome Warwick, and thanks for being such a great backup.
Thank you very much, Francis. I just wanted to add just to what Giselle had gone through, and just give a bit of background where ATP is coming in from a buyer's perspective. From the international buyer side, is that with a lot of transactions, we're forming the trusted partner between the buyer and the supplier, whereby that verification process is adding a lot of value to buyers sitting in the US and Europe or wherever the buyers may be from an international perspective. And that's where a lot of the background verification side comes on, which is one of the reasons that we've got the 3-step process. What we're also working on on at the moment with the platform is a rating system to allow various participants, whether you're on the buy side, sell side, logistics or financier, to get a structured rating throughout the platform, which will then allow to be able to interact with participants who've gone through successful transactions. We actually are getting quite a lot of inquiries coming from your part of the world. We're hoping to increase the liquidity of the markets throughout sub-Saharan Africa, and it's an exciting stage that we're going through. So if we can get you guys onto the platform and continue with the transactions from then on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Warwick, and just a huge thank you to Seb Vesta and African Trade Platform for taking the time to share all of this, and I think importantly for leading the way, because this was a crazy idea 18 months ago or 2 years ago, and here we are with verified suppliers and buyers, and it's a real platform that's working and operating today. So congrats and thank you for being with us. Just to touch on the rating system that Warwick mentioned, it's a bit like Uber. If you're familiar with Uber, I think some of the thinking behind that, Warwick, is that right? Is that you could rate a buyer or rate a supplier just like you would rate a rider or a driver if you were to take an Uber?
Yeah, so I mean, from the platform side, we've been in the commodity trading business for many years now, and a lot of transactions actually come down to trust between the buyer and the seller. And when you're creating new markets, there is no trust to start off with, and that's the bridge that we're wanting to be able to cross over without let's say 20 transactions in between. So if you've got a buyer who's got a strong rating because he's been rated by other participants who've dealt with him in the past, and a seller who's dealt with various buyers, it's generating the rating system. It creates that trust level right from the word go, and by doing that, it will in turn increase the speed and the value and a number of transactions out of specific regions and from specific participants. And so that's the premise behind what we're incorporating.
Fantastic. Thanks for expanding on that, Warwick. Right. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce Kevin, or to invite Kevin to join us on screen to share his experience of using the African Trade Platform. And then I will definitely be opening up for questions. So please have them ready for this panel that we have lined up here. Kevin, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to share your experiences. Over to you.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Thanks for that. And thanks to all the other presenters. I'm speaking to you from the side of a small business and entrepreneur. I've known Warwick for a couple of years now, and we've discussed many trades together and how to get it all put into one sort of basket. And the biggest problem that you face as a small entrepreneur, you may be a one-man business, two-man or three-man business, is trying to put together a big commodity trade. And whether that be in minerals or agriculture, there's a lot of hurdles that you face as a small operator. And the beauty about this platform is it does actually give the face that you are actually a sizable company. Because if you're on that platform, you have the ability to have agreements put into place. You have the ability to get finance packages approved and put into place, as well as the logistics. So that sort of gives you the aura that you do have a sizable workforce behind you. And that's the way I look at it. I am a small operator. I've only got 2 or 3 members of staff. But when you get involved in these deals, you don't realize the amount of work that goes behind it. It's not really just a case of finding somebody who's got the product and you have a client who is willing to buy it and you buy it for $1 and sell it for $1.10. It just doesn't work like that. There are lots of loopholes out there. And this is where the platform is fantastic. I mean, firstly, you know that the buyers that you're buying from are legitimate buyers, the buyers that you're selling to, they are legitimate. They've been verified. You know who you're dealing with, and you know that all the legal side is protected in terms of the escrow accounts that are in place as well. When it comes to the selling side, that's where the real trick comes in for us all, because if you take a commodity as an example like iron ore, you may have this iron ore offered to you by somebody claiming they've got a mandate. You could spend anything between 2 to 6 weeks trying to get down to a final purchase offer. But by the time you get to the end of it, after spending all this time and effort and energy, that person doesn't actually have the mandate, and the mine, who are the owners of the product, aren't willing to deal with you because they don't know you. So this is where the platform is great, and this is where people need to take advantage of it. People are verified, you know who the sellers are, you know who the buyers are, and you can move forward. But for our side, as I say, as a small operation, I can only but encourage small entrepreneurs that don't shy away from the big deals. They can be done now because you have this ability to use that platform and use it wisely. You've got people there on that platform that are highly skilled in their various departments of logistics, escrow accounts, trade agreements, letters of credit, etc., etc. So it does open up huge doors for everybody. I think on our side, it's going to open up strong possibilities of getting involved more and more into other products, because you will find that once you start dealing in commodities and you may be selling groundnuts, all of a sudden the buyer turns around, you've built a relationship, and you'll start asking for other commodities, maize meal, etc., etc. So that's the beauty about it, is that you have this backing of a corporate persona behind you. And that is important, and it gives everybody not only credibility, but it gives everybody the surety that it's being conducted in a correct and proper manner, and that everybody is protected, both buyers and sellers. So I can only applaud USAID for getting involved with SevVest and putting this together. I think it will create huge markets out there, protection of buyers and sellers, but you're also going to find the growers and producers. It's going to give them solace now when they are dealing with us. So we can go to them to say, yes, we can move your product. Please get involved with us. Let's get your product onto the platform, and you can even monitor how it gets marketed out there, the offers that come into it, and how the actual logistics and the final deal gets put into operation. So well done to all you guys out there. I look forward to continuing our business relationship. And to any entrepreneur out there, I just seriously urge you to use this platform. It will be for great benefit for you and your business. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Kevin. I certainly learned from your presentation about how powerful the back-end support is in terms of the platform and the various sort of holistic dimensions that are covered by the African Trade Platform. So that really stood out for me. Thank you for sharing your experience. I am really even more excited about this after listening to you than I was before. Do we have any questions from the audience in terms of the African Trade Platform based on Giselle, Warwick and Kevin's presentations? I don't see anything in the chat. Would anyone like to raise a question and come on stage, so to speak? I'm looking for hands. In the meantime, if anyone thinks of anything, I see that Giselle has posted the web address for the Trade Platform in the chat box. If you're keen to register, you just need to click on that link and you can take it from there through the different stages that Giselle spoke through in her presentation. Any questions? Okay, I'm just going to see if we did get a few questions before the session. So I'm just looking up anything of interest here. Maybe a question in terms of mobilizing capital. If we had a buyer and a supplier that were trading on this platform and they've got a good deal going, they've agreed to trade, but there's a need for some working capital to make the whole process work. How would that work? Warwick, I see you unmuted, so I think you're the right man for this question. How would the platform assist in terms of raising capital in a situation like that?
Perfect. Thanks, Francis. From a working capital perspective, the various forms of trade finance. The first form would be where you've got a buyer and they either raising an instrument or they're looking at only paying in 90 days, where that would be an invoice that would get discounted against the commitment from the buyer. The second, that's probably your easiest form of finance that's available in the market. The big requirement that we've found in sub-Saharan Africa is purchase order finance, and that's the finance for various processors, wholesalers, aggregators to actually acquire products from various suppliers, let's say small-scale farmers, a small-scale supply, whatever ingredients are needed in any value chain. It's that purchase order finance to acquire the product before a sale is actually made. Historically, it's all been around a view on the actual balance sheet of the entity, and capital has been raised from various financial institutions. But what we're working on here is a trade finance purchase order fund specifically to help enterprises who are trading through the African trade platform to actually forward that funding from a purchase order perspective. So that is an ongoing process from our side. That finance is available, but from a larger capacity perspective, we should be looking at that facility coming on board closer to the end of the year. So those are the various options that are out there.
So Warwick, because I'm not an investment finance guru, can I try and just rephrase that in my language? So if you had somebody sitting in Namibia who worked with a whole lot of smallholder farmers or collectors of raw materials, and they wanted to purchase those raw materials, aggregate them for the sake of trading with somebody in South Africa, the purchase order finance would be given to that aggregator in Namibia so that they could purchase those inputs and then honor a deal in South Africa or the US.
Yeah, that is correct. It's and going one step back from that is that if that aggregator has a buyer and that buyer has a certain instrument or commitments, and we would then take a view on the strength of that particular buyer, and dependence on the strength of the buyer, it's forward funds to the aggregator processor to actually acquire those products. So the big difference here is whether there's a buyer in place and a commitment to acquire versus an aggregator needing to acquire product before he's actually found the actual buyer on the other side. So that's the main difference between the two.
So in a sense, with the invoice discounting, you've got the security of knowing that there's a buyer who's going to purchase the product, and that's what you use to manage your risk as the financier. And on the other end of the purchase order finance, you're looking backward into the supply chain and financing the aggregator.
That is 100% correct.
Okay, great. Thank you. Lots of learning going on here for me. Any questions from the audience? I do not see any hands yet. A lot of the other questions that we received leading up to the session were not so much related to the subject at hand. So what I would suggest is that if you have questions about what kind of support the USA Trade Hub can offer, or very sector-specific questions like on clothing manufacturing or cosmetics, that you reach out to our country representative to see how we can assist in terms of assisting you with trade into South Africa or to the US. There is another question that I can pose, and I think anyone could come to the floor to answer this. Perhaps even Henk, it might be more relevant to you. The question is, how do small businesses record their finances, and what would the best way be to determine pricing of products? Would you like to tackle that one, Henk? So how would you suggest small businesses record their finances, and also any tips in terms of determining pricing?
Okay, so basically, in terms of that question, we have almost dedicated a whole module. I can put it like to that specific topic, because we found that during our initial interview phases and information gathering process, that you have various types of small businesses, and the small business which we looked at here is more in the agricultural sector. So you might have the person which, or the emerging farmer which might not have an accounting system or financial system yet, but they know of heart or by head, in their heads basically what the specific pricing should be, and also what the input costs are, so they have a good general idea of what it is. But we found also that formalizing that a little bit more in terms of documenting your income and your expenditure will give you a more accurate view and a more accurate idea basically on how to manage your pricing, number one, but also how to manage your input costs. So because everything at the end of the day will depend on what you put in. So if you can put in a little bit, I can almost say your input costs, if you can manage that, then you'll have a bigger profit margin at the end of the day. So that's basically, it's covered in the two financing modules, which we cover the basics. So your basic income statement, how to determine your pricing, looking at your costings, and basically controlling that aspect of your business. But we found that stepping stone, that's a bit of a stepping stone in some instances, which your emerging, especially in emerging farmers, which are a little bit more of informal sector, which we found that is a little bit of a challenge just to get over that hurdle first. I hope that answers the question.
Oh, thanks. I think it just highlights the relevance of some of the modules that have been developed. So I think thanks for highlighting that. There was also a question on manufacturing and whether any of the examples that are used in the learning modules cover the manufacturing sector, or how you would record financial records in the manufacturing space. Can you talk to that, Henk?
So basically, we didn't touch a lot on the types of records that is needed. We more looked at the process, because if you look at the different countries, there might be different records or different methods which they need to follow to, number one, to be addressed by, to cover the legislative requirements, but also to cover the process requirements. So each country will have it basically in a different, I would say, different requirements. But I've noticed Jimmy's hand is up as well, so I don't know if he picked something up which could assist him more.
Thanks, Henk. Yeah, please go ahead, Yemi.
Thank you so much. The examples used in the programs are actually very practical. So we are in jam and hot sauce manufacturing. So in looking at, I believe it was either the export module or the one about meeting a potential funding or capital provider.
Capital provider, yes.
A very specific example of chili and spice manufacturing. So it does get into very practical examples and look at very specific business scenarios, and some of which do cover manufacturing. So yes.
Great. Thank you for confirming that and bringing the example to the fore. I think there was another question. I'm just not sure who to target this one at, but it's around minimum orders, and it came up in more than one person's questions. So maybe Chazelle, maybe you could answer that. Are there minimum orders that are required in order to participate in the platform? Yeah, thanks.
No, not at all. You know, regarding your products, you can upload as many products as you want. Like I say, there's no first come first. It's basically it's developed on supply and demand. So the algorithm basically allows that to happen through supply and demand. So as many products as we have, there is no limit. Whatever you have as on your product line, it's full access.
Super. Thank you. Yeah, so it creates the virtual marketplace. If buyers want
the liquidity of the platform, yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Lovely. I have exhausted the questions that we received before the webinar, and I don't see any other hands. Any last minute questions from anyone? Okay, then I would just like to encourage everyone who's here to take advantage of these great resources. You've really got nothing to lose. It's a matter of investing some precious time. It is precious, but I promise you it will be a worthwhile investment to do either or both of these, or to make use of either or both of these opportunities. And with that, I would like to hand over to Nick to make a few closing comments. Nick Christoforou is our finance and investment advisor, supporting Namibia as well as Botswana, Malawi, and South Africa. He brings extensive experience from the finance and investment sector, having worked across the sector in different fields. And he's been with the USA Trade Hub for just over a year now, or a year and a bit, also a year and a half, actually. So Nick, thank you for making a few closing comments and wrapping up our session today.
Thank you so much, Francis, and again to everybody for making the time to be with us on this webinar, an important one, and so much happening in Namibia. George opened up this webinar by articulating our different objectives, and one of the goals of Objective 2 they spoke about is moving capital and technology from South Africa through to our country region, and in this case to Namibia. And technology has become such an important aspect of who we are and what we do, and no doubt COVID has pushed us into this space a little bit with vigor and a lot quicker than we had maybe anticipated that we'd work towards over the time. So technology it's a wonderful solution to allow smaller businesses to compete on pricing, efficiency, instantaneous networking against the more established corporates out there. It allows you to step in, and now as a small business, you have the ability to showcase who you are and your products. Netcampus has provided us with a means for individuals who have not had the opportunity to regularly work with financial matters and knowledge in banking products and loan applications to upskill their know-how by working through these 10 well-articulated financial modules that have been created and in their own time. And this is a way that you can use to understand and the process that you would have to go through to raise finance, to raise the capital in order for you to expand your businesses. And as we try to really work hard towards to help you export your product beyond the borders of Namibia. But you cannot take advantage of this offer, particularly this discount or the voucher discount that covers all the costs of the 10 modules until the end of July, I beg your pardon, if you do not register your details on behalf of your exporter onto the platform. And secondly, then actually work through these modules. It's an incredible opportunity. So please register on the Netcampus platform and work through these modules. It's for now up until the end of July. It covers all your costs across all 10 modules, and you will really pick up something out of this, and it will help you through the process. And equally, with the African Trade Platform, or the ATP, they've provided a portal where smaller businesses can compete on price, efficiency, and networking amongst the larger, more dominant corporate institutions. It's an incredible bit of technology that makes it so much easier for you to be able to trade your product. But again, unless you register your business onto this ATP, then actually follow through and upload your company information for verification, you will not trade your product online or have the opportunity to be linked to the buyers, the financiers, and the logistics providers. So use this technology, and it's was carefully built and facilitated by the USA Trade Hub with SEBVest ATP to look after and encourage small businesses and allow them to be able to trade. So please go to the ATP, register, and progress the steps to upload your details so that you can begin to trade as a business. So in closing, Namibia has received good progress and facilitation from the likes of the US Embassy, the USAID missions, the USA Trade Hub, and the Netcampus financial learning modules and the Severus ATP are all tools to help you make more competitive decisions and help you expand your business and help you to grow beyond the borders of Namibia. So use these tools. They are being designed to help the small business and elevate them and take them to a level where they can become competitive and to grow and establish and have all sorts of advantages to Namibia as business and contribute to the community. You will see the slide that you will see before you is our website URL is there, www.satihub.com. Our past webinars are all uploaded to our website. It's under the section of resources. So please click onto these. You will see so many of our webinars that we've had in the past. There'll be plenty that will meet your interests. You can pick the ones that you are of interest to you and work through them, listen to them. You will no doubt pick up information and benefits that will help you improve your business. Next slide, please. But just on that, as another issue that I did not mention is that we've also uploaded these webinars to YouTube. So if you Google USA Trade Hub, you will find the YouTube page, and you'll be able to access these webinars again on YouTube and these past videos that we are working on. So our next slide here that you see before you, we will go back. Thank you. We have some up and coming events, and I just want to draw your attention to these. Again, pick these, register to them, and attend them. They are all of benefit to you and your business. So we have the Lesotho Exporters Awards webinar coming up on the 8th of June. We have the Bavano Virtual Buyers Mission on the 10th of June, Zambia Exporters Award on the 17th of June, and Mozambique Exporters Award on the 17th of June too. So pick the ones that are of interest to you and important to you, and register and attend. It's all excellent value, and we all learn. And as we've seen today from our speakers, it's just a process where we learn from one another. Ask the questions, attend the webinars, and make your business better. On our next slide, we have the names of all our country representatives in our 8 countries. We will add Angola soon, but of particular interest to you all in Namibia is Peter Muller. And Peter is, as was introduced by Francis earlier on, is the country representative in Namibia. He's supported by the country program assistant, Tanya Daringo, and the two are there to answer your questions, to direct you into different sectors of the USA Trade Hub. So please use their email that you see in front of you to email Peter and ask your questions, and we will be more than happy to help you along the whole process. That is why we are here. So with that, I end of my little bit, and I'll hand you back to Francis. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nick. I believe that concludes our session for today, but please do reach out to us if you have any other questions or need for more information. And thank you for joining us and for your time. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Francis.
Thanks, Giselle. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
Thank you very much.
opportunity. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, then. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.